You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of What If Naruto Enters Wednesday. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of KFB Anime 87 and Spike Tank Master 300 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the authors too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. A few days later. It was now morning and all of the students were in the courtyard listening to Weems give them instructions for today since it was outreach day where the students would all go into Jericho and work in the town and as Weems put it build a better relationship with the townspeople. Naruto grumbled in annoyance as Weems handed him and Kiba their work assignments. I will expect you to be on your best behavior Mr. Uzumaki if you pull anything like you did last year Weems was saying before she was cut off. Yeah, I know you will call my mom she will laugh you will stew, Naruto said as he took his assignment from her. Weems said nothing to this before she put on a fake smile, also I took the opportunity to have your violin brought with us, she said. This caused Naruto to pause in surprise, my violin? He asked really hoping she wasn't gonna make him do what he thought she was. I hope you and Miss Adams know Fleetwood Mac have a good day at work Mr. Uzumaki, Weems said with a smile as she walked away. Has she got you dude, Kiba said with a snicker. Shut up, Naruto growled as he was really annoyed now. Don't start, the sooner we finish the faster we can leave that ditch hole, Kiba muttered to him. Yeah you said it, wait why do you hate this? Naruto asked curiously. Because of that but hat statue in town as wasn't that guy a outcast hunter or something about crackstone makes me angry for some reason, Kiba said. Yeah well you heard Weems she's watching me so don't expect a prank from me this year, Naruto said as he looked at his assignment, oh Konan. The weather vane, he yelled in annoyance. You expected Pilgrim World after what you pulled last year? Kiba asked with a raised eyebrow. Hey they had it coming, Naruto said. You snapped his son's arm and flooded Pilgrim World in BLD that had screaming souls in it, Kiba said with a shudder at the memory. Naruto snickered at this as he smiled at the memory of all the patrons and workers at Pilgrim World screaming in terror. Kiba then looked at his assignment and scowled, well you got a better assignment than me I got Uriah's heap, he said. The antique shop. Ouch, Naruto said with a wince before he patted Kiba on the shoulder in sympathy. This is degrading, Wednesday said as she got her list. You said it, ask me, I'd rather burn that statue of crack block, Naruto said. Crackstone, Kiba said as he rolled his eyes. Who cares? I can't look at that statue without getting the feeling of being mad, Naruto said. Let's just get these said and done, Kiba said as they were all led to a bus. So that's a no on burning the place down? Naruto asked as they all got on the bus. Kiba, Xavier and Ajax groaned at this while Wednesday didn't react at all. Later with Naruto. Naruto walked into the weather vane with Xavier and the both of them approached the front counter where Tyler was. Why are you here? Tyler asked with an annoyed tone at seeing Naruto. I'll have the Neapolitan cappuccino more captain than Chino make sure it's got no more than 4 ounces of milk the beans won't have the right texture otherwise, you can't handle that I'll have a venti traditional misto, please use soy milk with 2 blonde shots affogato and ristretto. I'd also love 3 vanilla pumps at the very bottom then, add the coffee after then. Naruto said with a smug grin while Xavier snorted and smiled a little at Naruto obviously messing with Tyler, at least he hoped he was messing with him. Enough. You're both here for outreach day right? Tyler asked his eyebrow twitching after out of habit trying to remember Naruto's order before he realized he was screwing with him. Yes we are but I can repeat my order if you want, Naruto said with a smirk. Before Tyler threw 2 aprons at him. Uzumaki, you're on janitor duty and you can take orders and serve the customers, Tyler said to them. Oh, janitor duty, I'm so scared, Naruto said with a scoff as he put on his apron. Our regular janitor has been sick all week, have fun in the restroom, Tyler said with a smug tone. Naruto paused at this before he scowled while Xavier groaned at this. Well, at least Kiba is suffering too at that antique shop, Naruto thought to himself as he was handed a mop. With Kiba. Kiba was at the antique shop known as Jiraiya's Heap, and as he walked in he noticed who the other student sent here with him was. Kiba. I didn't know you were sent here, Enid said with an excited smile at seeing the fellow werewolf. Kiba sputtered in surprise with a small blush at seeing her. The owner of the shop, Connie, watched this and shook her head at the obvious crush the male werewolf had. Okay, you two, you're here to work, not gaze into each other's eyes, she said with a grin as the two teens jumped in surprise before they all got to work. After a few hours of working while talking a little, Kiba was a little more comfortable around Enid, though he was still stuttering a little. So where is Wednesday working? Kiba asked as he dusted a vase. She's working at Pilgrim World, Enid said as she cleaned some dust off a shelf and coughed a bit. Kiba froze at this before he chuckled. You think she will do something to scar the town like Naruto did last year? He asked curiously. I don't know, it's hard to beat flooding all of Pilgrim World with BLD, Enid said as she shuddered at the memory. Kiba nodded at this and smiled as that was a good point. So, Enid he said, trying to gather his courage before he was cut off. Kiba, I have been trying to get your attention for months now and I'm about to lose it. I have been trying to flirt with you but you just don't get it. Enid blurted out with a nervous look on her face. Kiba froze at this, his eyes widening in surprise while he blushed. Why, you were flirting with me? He asked, stunned. Obviously, Connie said, making them jump in surprise at her announcing her presence. Gah! Don't you have things to do? Kiba asked, sounding annoyed. Regularly, yes, but here's something you should know, young man. I have no life, Connie said with a smug grin as she drank some coffee. Kiba groaned in annoyance at this while Enid frowned. Oh look, I need to refill my cup, I guess I'll have to get more. For 5 minutes, Connie said with a smile at the two teens before she went into the back. Enid smiled at this as she could see what the antique owner was doing and made a note to send her a gift basket later. So Kiba, would you like to go out with me tonight? Yes, I would love to, Kiba shouted before he quickly calmed himself and answered more calmly. Enid smiled at this and chuckled at his response. You are so cute when you're nervous, she said as she started to giggle. I'm only nervous around you, Kiba grumbled to himself as he got back to work. Aw, Enid said as she smiled and patted Kiba on the head. Okay, I'm coming back. So separate you two? Connie yelled out before she came back. Kiba grumbled at this but was thankful to the normie shop owner. Later with Wednesday. Wednesday was leaving Pilgrim World in her school uniform and was now making her way to the weather vane. She had been able to find some information on Joseph Crackstone, the founder of the town of Jericho. She hadn't gotten much information since his old book was fake and stolen months ago, according to one of the workers at the park. Though she did find a painting of a girl that looked like her in the Crackstone exhibit, so now she was heading to the weather vane, which she entered through the front door. Come on Xavier, let's burn this whatif down. Naruto yelled from the restroom while Xavier served some customers. Having a good day, I see, Wednesday said with a flat tone at Xavier, who walked over to her. Better than Naruto is, as he's basically the plumber while I serve the customers, Xavier said. Suddenly they heard a flushing sound inside the restroom. Ah-ha! I told you I could fix this. Naruto yelled as he walked out of the restroom with a smug look. Oh really? Tyler asked with a raised eyebrow. Naruto looked to see water coming from behind the door. Naruto yelled as he was at his wit's end. I think he's earned a small break, Tyler. I need to talk to him, Wednesday said firmly. Go ahead, I'm at my wit's end with him, Tyler said as he left them alone. Curse you, you porcelain demon! Naruto yelled. At least you have a career figured out, Wednesday said with a slight smirk at Naruto. Not in the mood, woman. Naruto yelled out on frustration. Since you're not having fun here, maybe you can help me look for clues in the forest. Sold. Hey Tyler, I'm bailing, and if you don't like it. Naruto was yelling before he was cut off. By all means please leave before you destroy something, Tyler said, not looking at Naruto as he took some orders. Naruto made a mocking noise at this as he took off his apron and threw it at the floor as he followed Wednesday out of the coffee shop. I'm surprised with your reputation as a prankster you didn't prank the place, Wednesday mused, almost disappointed. I wanted to, but they took all my pranking supplies before I got on the bus, Naruto grumbled. Wednesday slightly smirked at this as she kinda liked seeing Naruto like this, miserable. So what do you want to know? Naruto asked curiously. I want to see some of the old buildings of Jericho. Good luck, there are only ruins in the forest that is usually home to homeless people these days, Naruto said as they walked towards the forest. Perfect, Wednesday said. Later in the forest, Naruto and Wednesday walked towards the old destroyed barn. What exactly is here that you are hoping to find? Naruto asked. A clue of some kind. Make yourself useful and look around, Wednesday said firmly as she looked around. Aye, Detective Adams, Naruto said flatly as she looked around. As Wednesday looked around, his shoulder was grabbed, and when she looked she saw an older man with a long beard who was obviously homeless. This is my place, girly, he growled out in annoyance. Call me girly again and I will make you suffer, Wednesday said coldly to the man. This is my spot, the homeless man yelled out in annoyance. Thing, Wednesday said as said hand made his presence known on her shoulder before he jumped at the homeless man. Before Naruto appeared in between the man and Wednesday and caught Thing in his hand. I'll handle this, Thing, Naruto said as he put the hand on his shoulder before turning to the homeless man, his eyes glowing, which made the homeless man froze. You want to leave this place, he said almost like a command. I want to leave this place, the homeless man said in a trance as he walked out of the destroyed barn. Naruto smiled at this before his eyes stopped glowing and he turned to Wednesday. Hypnosis? Wednesday asked curiously. Yup, but it only works on the weak-willed, so don't worry Miss Adams, it obviously wouldn't work on you, Naruto said with a teasing tone. Obviously, now get back to work finding a clue, Wednesday said as she went back to looking around. Naruto went back to work, Thing jumping down to the ground and walking over to Wednesday and making hand signals to her. Wednesday looked annoyed at this. No, I haven't gotten any visions yet, she said. Visions? Naruto asked curiously, not knowing about this before his eyes widened in realization. Ah, that's why you seized up at the Po Cup, he said, getting a thumbs up from Thing confirming this. Wednesday looked at Naruto at this. Yes, and Thing thinks I should try to trigger them, but I haven't had anything yet, she said as she went to leave. Well, how do they work? Naruto asked curiously as he had heard several things about psychic visions thanks to Xavier but didn't know a lot. Sometimes I get them when I touch something or someone, Wednesday said simply as she approached the barn doorway. Oh. And what do you think you would see if you touched me? Naruto asked with a teasing tone. Wednesday looked at Naruto and glared at him as she touched the barn door to leave before she seized up and fell to the ground. Wednesday! Naruto yelled as he ran to her to check on her. Thing crawled over to them in a panic, signing at Naruto. Naruto checked her pulse and sighed in relief. She should be fine, Thing, this must be her having a vision, he said as he looked at the asleep Adams. Thing pinched Naruto's leg, getting his attention, and signed at him when he looked at him. So I'm looking at her, so what? I'm worried about her. I mean, I would be worried about any of my friends in this situation, Naruto said, annoyed at that the severed hand was pretty much accusing him. Thing signed at Naruto at this, making Naruto sputter a little. Okay fine, I find her pretty, so what? Naruto asked Thing, who didn't respond to this, but Naruto had a feeling if Thing could smirk in a teasing way he would. It soon started to rain and Naruto scowled at this and pulled out an umbrella he kept with him just in case. Wednesday then shot up her vision over and looked at Naruto and Thing. I had a vision of the girl in that painting back at Pilgrim World, her name was Goody Adams. Huh, sounds like an ancestor of yours is trying to tell you something, Naruto mused as he placed his umbrella over Wednesday, who he offered a hand to help he up, which she took. She told me a lot already. apparently Joseph Crackstone burned hundreds of outcasts in this very barn, which Goody escaped and had to leave her family to save herself, Wednesday said as she glared at the destroyed barn. Naruto scowled at this as he had heard some of Jericho's history from his mother. Come on, let's get back before Weem sends a search party, he said as he led the way out. Wednesday followed Naruto with Thing climbing onto her shoulder. They both walked down the street, making their way back to town in silence. You okay? Naruto asked curiously as he kept them dry with his umbrella. I'm fine, I'm just annoyed that this town wants to pretend they are our friends when they obviously still hate us, Wednesday said with a firm tone. Naruto nodded at this as he could see her point and why she was annoyed. Why do you think I prank the town regularly? He asked with a grin. Wednesday paused at this and looked at Naruto. You do juvenile pranks to get even for this town's history? How does that make things even? She asked, wondering if there was a prank bad enough to make things even. Well, last year I flooded Pilgrim World with BLD and scared everyone with images of tortured souls in the river of BLD, Naruto said with a proud grin. Wednesday said nothing to this but smiled a little as she very much wished she could have seen this. There's a smile I knew seeing it would be worth it, Naruto said with his own smile at her. Wednesday composed herself at this. And said nothing as she walked away into the rain. Naruto frowned at this, hoping he didn't make her mad. Wednesday stopped walking at this and turned to look at Naruto. I have an idea for a prank on the town. If you wish to help me, then let's go, she sold firmly. Naruto smiled at this and ran to catch up with her, more than happy to help with a prank, especially on Jericho. Later in town. Everyone was in the town square getting ready for the dedication to Joseph Crackstone. Wednesday was sitting near the band with her cello getting ready while the mayor gave his speech with Weem standing with him, but noticed Naruto was next to her getting his violin ready. You play violin? She asked curiously, not expecting this from the vampire teen. I am a vampire of many talents, Miss Adams, Naruto said with a smile at her before he spotted Thing nearby under the feet of the watching audience, giving them a thumbs up showing he was ready to do his part of the plan. The band started to play a peppy version of Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac, which Naruto and Wednesday also played while the audience watched, and the mayor and Weem started the fountain for the new Joseph Crackstone statue. Nearby Thing lit a match and set fire to a trail of gasoline which made its way to the fountain which the statue was on, and soon. Boom! The fountain and statue were set ablaze, making everyone in the audience scream and run in terror. Sheriff Galpin helped lead some people away and stopped and looked at Naruto and Wednesday, who were still playing their instruments, only now they were playing a very intense version of Vivaldi's Winter, both of them in perfect sync. Mayor Walker and Principal Weems were taking cover and both glared at Naruto and Wednesday as they continued to play in perfect sync, Naruto smirking in defiance while Wednesday had a slight smirk on her face as the townspeople ran and the statue of Joseph Crackstone melted. Later, back at Nevermore. Naruto walked into his room after being read the riot act by Weems along with Wednesday. Well, that was quite the couple's activity you and Adams pulled, Kiba said with a knowing smirk as he got his coat on. I have no idea what you're talking about, Naruto said with a smirk. Kiba snorted at this but shook his head as he knew Naruto would take this one to the grave. What are you up to? Naruto asked as he sat down on his bed seeing Kiba was getting dressed up. I'm meeting up with Enid tonight, Kiba said as he smiled happily. Naruto blinked at this before he smiled at his friend. Well, look at you finally making a move, he said as he was happy his best friend finally asking Enid out. Looks like I beat you for once, eh? Kiba asked as he put on his coat and headed for the door. Yeah, savor the flavor cause you won't win again, Naruto said with a chuckle as he laid down on his bed as Kiba laughed and left the room. Naruto looked up at the ceiling and thought about what he should do to catch up with Kiba. Maybe I should ask Wednesday out to the school dance, he thought to himself as his thoughts turned to the gloomy girl. With Naruto. Naruto was walking outside of the school and making his way to Xavier's art shack, as he liked to call it. He wanted to check on him since he noticed that he was feeling stressed lately and he wasn't buying his excuse that he hurt his back at fencing practice. He approached Xavier's art shack and reached out to knock, but before he could, he heard a roar and Xavier shouting in pain from inside. He instantly kicked the door down and want in his eyes glowing red and his fangs way more defined. But stopped as he saw Xavier holding his neck while backing away from a painting of what looked like a skinny pale monster with a big head and big eyes. A hide? Interesting painting subject, Xavier. I'm gonna guess you got curious and used your power to bring it to life, Naruto said as his eyes stopped glowing and his fangs shrunk down. Ha, you know what that thing is? Xavier said as he went to a first aid kit for his neck. Not personally, but my mom's dealt with them for years, things always thinking they can take on us big vamps only to be reminded of how strong she is, Naruto said. Yeah, well, I keep having dreams about them and it's making me nuts, Xavier said as he pointed at some other paintings. And, what happens in these dreams? Naruto asked curiously as he looked at the paintings, raking note of one in front of a circle. It kills me, that's what, I'm freaking out, man, you gotta help me. Xavier said as he frantically shook Naruto. Relax, man, you're just having visions like your dad. I say ask him for help and don't be a PP. If he's any kind of dad he will at least listen to this, Naruto said firmly. But they feel so real, every time it's the same thing, party, BLD rains from the ceiling, forest, claws. Xavier said as he shook. Slap. Thank you, I needed that, Xavier said to Naruto, who just slapped him hard. Now relax, man, these are visions, there's no guarantee they come true, and if that thing does somehow show up I'll be there, Naruto said, reassuring Xavier as he patted his shoulders. Thanks, nice to know you have your friends back when it matters, Xavier said with a sigh as he calmed down. No problem now, can I borrow this? Naruto asked as he pointed at the small drawing of the hide in front of a circle. Yeah, go ahead, why you want it? Xavier asked curiously as he looked at his neck in a mirror he had and was relieved he wasn't bleeding, but he did have some bad scratches. Wednesday is investigating this and I want to give her the evidence to help her out, Naruto said as he folded the picture and put it away in his pocket. Go ahead then, Xavier said as Naruto smiled before he left the room. Wednesday's room. Wednesday was in her room trying to wake Enid up after she had fainted after seeing the wall of victim reports she had taken from the morgue. Thing, where are those smelling salts? Wednesday asked with an annoyed tone at THR Hand, who was scrambling to find the smelling salts. Knock knock. Hey Wednesday, your BLD sucking night is here. Naruto said from the other side of the door with an audible teasing grin. Wednesday rolled her eyes at this as she approached the door. She then opened the door, seeing Naruto with a smile on his face. Your dumb remarks are getting annoying, Wednesday said flatly as she let Naruto into the room. Just fishing for a smile, Miss Adams, Naruto said as he spotted Enid on the floor. I don't smile. What did you do to her? Cause I may like you but I don't think I can stop Kiba from attacking you, Naruto asked pointing at Enid while Thing approached her. Nothing, she fainted seeing the pictures, and I could easily handle your flea-bitten roommate, Wednesday said as she gestured to the on-display evidence. Wow, you have been working hard, though I may have something better, Naruto said as he took out the picture of the hide and handed it to Wednesday, who took it. Like, what is it? Wednesday asked curiously, looking at the picture. A hide, my mom's dealt with these things for years, Naruto said as he went to look at Wednesday's evidence. Why? Do they not like her? Wednesday asked curiously. No, something about idiot monsters and their masters, Naruto said as he took a seat. Ow. He pulled a knife out from under the covers, throwing it aside. You said masters, why? Wednesday asked. Let's just say some other big-time outcasts really don't like my mom, Naruto said. This may indicate an intelligence to this, the hide is merely the hunter and gatherer for this, Wednesday said as she attached the hide picture to her clipboard. Nah, you're way off, Naruto said as he shook his head. How so? Wednesday asked curiously. They don't send monsters after my mom anymore. That was when she was in school. She kinda put an end to that CRP right after she graduated, Naruto said simply. Interesting, Wednesday said as she went back to her evidence. But I can say I do agree in this case, there's no way this hide is just killing and taking random organs, there's someone else in the shadows pulling the strings, but who, and why? You come from a family that deals with this world of horror, anything you can think of someone doing with collected organs? Wednesday asked. A couple things, but we need more evidence to be sure, Naruto said, wanting to be absolutely sure before he said anything. Where did you get this? Wednesdays asked, gesturing to the hide picture. Xavier, poor guy, was freaking out, says he's been having visions of the thing for days, Naruto said. This could mean Xavier it's the monster, Wednesday said as she put a clip of Xavier onto the board. Impossible, Naruto said. How so? His dad is a famous illusionist, not exactly known for killing people. What about his mother? No idea, Naruto said, hesitant in saying this, but he should not lie. When your mother told you of her hide experiences, did she say anything about identifiable features to point one out? Wednesday asked. Not really, I never asked for specifics, Naruto said with a sigh at the fact he couldn't help that much. Wednesday nodded at this before she walked towards the door to leave. Where are you going? Naruto asked curiously. Investigating Xavier, Wednesday said firmly as she left her room. Man, that woman is stubborn, Naruto said with a sigh as he went to follow her. Later. They two teens were inside Xavier's art studio looking around for any evidence. Finding anything? Naruto asked Wednesday as he and Thing checked a shelf. Not yet. Are Xavier paintings always so bleak? Wednesday asked as she looked at some of the paintings. Nah, he's just been having nightmares and this is how he copes, Naruto said as he shook his head. Wednesday said nothing to this as she looked at an older painting of what looked like a river of blood flooding a town and a demonic figure floating above it laughing. He tell you about this one? Wednesday asked. Yup, apparently my little tantrum last year at Outreach Day left an impression on everyone, not just Jericho, Naruto said with a smile. So you're saying this is how he saw you? Wednesday asked curiously. Well, when I go all out I can be pretty scary. Interested? Naruto asked with a teasing grin at Wednesday. Never, Wednesday said with a flat tone as she walked towards the exit to Xavier's art shack. You'll come around one day, I'm not that hateable to anyone, Naruto said with a grin as he followed her out. What are you two doing here? A voice called out, getting their attention as they left, and when they turned they saw Xavier approaching. Would you believe she was interested in your paintings? Naruto asked with a sheepish grin. Xavier looked at Wednesday with an inquisitive look before he turned to Naruto. Well, I suppose that's fine. You didn't make out in there, did you? He asked with a teasing grin at Naruto. Never. The only way I'm kissing this thing is if it's by accident, Wednesday said firmly before she turned to leave, leaving Naruto and Xavier alone. Oh yeah, she really likes you, Xavier said to Naruto with heavy sarcasm. Would you believe I like it when she's like this? Naruto asked with a snicker. Wednesday suddenly turned and threw a knife at Naruto, who simply caught it in his teeth. Would you believe a snake woman taught me how to do that, Naruto said as he took the knife out of his mouth with a teasing grin at her. Wednesday glared at Naruto at this and walked away. You are nuts to provoke her, Xavier said with Naruto as he went into his art shack. Later that night with Wednesday. It was now night time and Wednesday was sneaking into Naruto's room again via the window since it was now dinner time. Thing was on her shoulder and made a few motions with his fingers. We are here to gather more evidence. Naruto is a suspect and I want to be sure he's not trying to lead me in the wrong direction, Wednesday said as she looked over his desk. Thing made more gestures at this. Because he is a known half-vampire and nobody knows what his dad is, for all we know he's the hide and he's just messing with me, Wednesday said as she opened a drawer to look through. Thing then did a gesture as he rolled his fingers. Don't give me that, just start looking, Wednesday said as she found a book and notebook in the drawer she was searching. A diary? Wednesday mused as she opened it and saw it was full of sketches. Thing wasn't paying attention as he found a bottle of moisturizer. Thing, I think I found a doodle book, Thing. Thing. Wednesday said as she saw Thing moisturizing himself. Thing jumped at this before he got back to work. Wednesday rolled her eyes at this before she turned the pages pursuing the notebook, seeing sketches of different locations: Nevermore, Jericho, the night sky. Not bad, Wednesday mused before she turned the page and saw a sketch of what looked like herself playing her cello. What really stood out about this sketch was that it was very detailed, as if Naruto spent a lot more time on this. Wednesday said as she looked at the sketch, feeling both annoyed and conflicted. Wednesday jumped slightly as Thing hopped on her shoulder, making her close the book. She put the book away and turned to leave, but before she could move, the door opened and Naruto entered. I swear since he started dating Enid I can't be near him without being nauseous, Wednesday. Naruto was grumbling to himself before he spotted Wednesday in his room. DMN Wednesday, though cursing herself for getting distracted and getting caught. What are you? Oh, I see, Naruto said with a smirk as he approached her. Wednesday readied a silver dagger behind her neck, thinking Naruto was gonna attack her. What? She asked flatly, showing no fear. You want to ask me something, don't you? Naruto asked with a smug grin. Wednesday kept her impassive face at this but was silently cursing herself as she had an idea what Naruto was expecting. Don't make me ask, she stated with an annoyed tone, as she knew what she had to do if she wanted Naruto to not be suspicious of her. Sorry, but I'm not a mind reader, Miss Adams, so you're gonna have to say it, Naruto said with a smug grin. Wednesday's grip on the knife tightened as she was getting annoyed. Not being able to think up anything to say, she just went with the first thing in her head. Will you go to the rave with me? Wednesday said, feeling like she wanted to jam needles into her eyes rather than ask this. Naruto smiled at this question. Yes, I would love to go with you, Wednesday, he said as he nodded. Wednesday nodded at this, but before she could respond, her and Naruto heard someone approaching the room. Quick, out the window, Naruto said as he pointed out the window. Wednesday quickly climbed out the window just as Kiba entered the room with a bright smile on his face. Hey Naruto, I got a date to the dance. Kiba said happily as she laid on his bed and looked up at the ceiling, lost in his thoughts. Yes, so do I, Naruto said with a smile of his own. Kiba looked up at this with a raised eyebrow. Oh really? Who? 'Cause no offense, I don't think anyone will want to go with you after what you did last year at the dance, he said with a chuckle. Oh come on, it wasn't that bad, Naruto said with a scoff. I have the video to prove it, maybe I should show it to this date of yours, Kiba said with a grin. Naruto groaned at this as he slapped his forehead. So who is it? Mean it can't be Adams, so I'm guessing a normie in Jericho? Kiba asked curiously. No, it's Wednesday, Naruto said with a smile. Kiba's eyes widened at this before he groaned. Please tell me you two aren't gonna pull some CRP like you two did at Outreach Day, he asked as he knew Enid was really looking forward to the dance. Don't worry, I got my prank fill for the weekend when I pranked Yoko yesterday, Naruto said with an evil grin. So it was you who stuffed her bag full of Yoko Ono CDs, Kiba said with a snort as he smiled at his friend. With Wednesday the next morning. Wednesday was in her room and was getting out her evidence to go over while Enid was on her phone. OMG. Enid yelled as she looked at her text from Kiba. What has you screeching this time? Wednesday asked with an annoyed tone. You're taking Naruto to the dance. Enid squealed out in excitement. I'm gonna neuter Inuzuka, Wednesday said firmly as she had a hunch it was him who told Enid. It's all over the school too, oh. Enid said with a smile as she jumped out of her bed. Don't you, Wednesday groaned as Enid moved fast and hugged her. Thing however was rolling underneath Wednesday's bed, laughing in his own way. There is so much to do. Enid said with a smile as she pulled away. Does it involve a bullet to my head? Wednesday asked flatly. You need a dress. We can go find you one today in town. Enid said excitedly. Wednesday paused at this as dread filled her soul. I have a dress, she said quickly. What you came here in? God, no, that is a fashion emergency. Enid said with a shake of her head. Thing was thumping the ground laughing so hard at this. Wednesday glared at Thing but did nothing as Enid dragged her out of the room. With Naruto. Naruto, Kiba, Xavier and Ajax were all sitting in the weather vane waiting for Ajax to get his coffee from Tyler so they could leave. I still can't believe you actually made Adams ask you to the dance. Do you have a death wish? Xavier asked as he shook his head at his friend's willingness to provoke said girl. She snuck into my room. Consider it me getting even, Naruto said with a snicker. Why do you think I told Enid? Kiba said with a grin at his own revenge on Wednesday. Cause you're a sap, Ajax said with a grin as he approached them with his coffee. This got laughs from Naruto and Xavier as they left, not noticing Tyler glaring at Naruto as they left. Wednesday, Enid and her group of friends then entered the weather vane, and he made his way to them. We need to talk, Tyler said firmly. About what? Wednesday asked with an impassive tone. We will meet you at out table Wednesday, Enid said, deciding to let Wednesday talk to Tyler alone. You think Naruto to be a monster, but his mother is the real monster, Tyler said firmly. I already know this, you're boring me. His mom put a curse on the town and on her fellow outcasts, Tyler said with a firm tone. Wednesday raised an inquisitive eyebrow at this. You have my attention, she said. I can't say a lot, but it involves his dad, so I hope you're not too close with him, Tyler said before he walked away to get back to work. Wednesday said nothing to this before she looked at Yoko, who was sitting at Enid's table, and approached the table and sat down. What do you know about Naruto's dad? She asked firmly. Yoko choked on her coffee at this before she spat on the window next to them. Well, that proves it's a touchy subject, Wednesday said firmly while Yoko coughed. What's going on? Enid asked as she didn't know anything about Naruto's dad since nobody talked about him. Ask Yoko, she knows the most out of all of us, Wednesday said with a causing look at the vampire. Can't say, Yoko said firmly. Does the reason involve a curse his mother put on you? Wednesday asked. Yoko grit her teeth at this and gripped her coffee hard at this. Can't say, she said with a more firm tone. Wednesday looked annoyed at this. What can you say? She asked. Ask Uzumaki, Yoko said firmly before she went back to her coffee. Wednesday raised an eyebrow at this before she nodded. Very well, she said, knowing she wouldn't get anything out of Yoko, not without torture, and she didn't have any of her tools for that on her. I would save it for either during or after the dance, Enid said, not wanting her friend to ruin her future date. Good idea, I'll make him talk after I make him drop his guard, Wednesday said firmly. This got a nervous chuckle from Enid, hoping Wednesday was kidding. Later, back at Nevermore with Naruto. Naruto was walking through the courtyard and saw a young male sitting at the fountain looking depressed, talking to Wednesday for a moment before she left him alone. Hey Eugene, right? Naruto asked, recognizing the boy as he approached him. Eugene looked at Naruto and looked a little nervous as he nodded. Relax dude, I'm not gonna mess with you or anything, Naruto said as he knew Eugene was regularly mocked or bullied by other students. Eugene sighed in relief at this as Naruto approached. Sorry, I thought you were gonna threaten me to stay away from Wednesday, he said as Naruto approached. Naruto scoffed at this. Okay, two things. One, I know Wednesday joined your beekeeping club to get weems off her back, and two, I'm not some insecure moron. Wednesday can be friends with who she wants. If anything, I encourage it. She needs more friends, he said as he sat next to Eugene. That's a relief. I don't need a vampire on my bad side, especially one from your bloodline, Eugene said with a nod before he frowned. What's got you down, my beekeeping amigo? Naruto asked, deciding to be friendly and lend a ear to the teen. Well, I was hoping to find a date to the dance, but I got rejected by all the girls I asked, Eugene said with a frown. Who did you ask? Naruto asked curiously. I asked Enid Sinclair, but she's going out with Inuzuka, and I also asked. Eugene was saying before he trailed off and started to sweat as he looked at Naruto. I said relax dude, I'm not gonna do anything just cause you asked Wednesday, Naruto said as he shook his head at this. Eugene sighed in relief at this, glad National wasn't gonna get mad. If anything, I'm impressed you aim high like that, shows you have no fear, Naruto said with a chuckle at Eugene. Heh, thanks I guess, Eugene said as he chuckled sheepishly before he frowned again. Hey, don't worry, you will come into your own someday. Hell, you think I started out as I am now? Hell no, as a kid I was shy and nervous around everyone, Naruto said with a smile as he patted Eugene on the back. Ah, really? Eugene asked, surprised at this as he didn't think a vampire of Naruto's caliber would be that way as a kid. Yup, we all grow at our own pace man, so don't be afraid to put yourself out there more, Naruto said before he got up to leave. Eugene nodded at this as Naruto left the courtyard. With Naruto. Naruto walked into his dorm room and saw Kiba was at his dresser and that there was a package on his bed. Package from your mom. Weems told me to bring it to you, Kiba said as he looked for his clothes for the dance tonight. Naruto nodded at this before he opened the package and saw that there was a note on a folded outfit which he took to read. Just in case you actually find a date for the dance, love mom, the note said. Naruto shook his head at this before he looked at the outfit and blinked before he smiled. Later that night. Enid was waiting outside of the Great Hall for Kiba where everyone was entering. The dance she was wearing a white sweater and was wearing makeup to suit the theme of the dance. Someone call heaven because I think an angel's gone missing, Kiba said as he approached her making her smile and blush. Kiba was wearing a dark gray tuxedo which had fur on the end of it. You clean up nicely, Enid said with a smile at Kiba. It's my dad's, he had it in storage and thought it'd fit me, Kiba said with a nervous chuckle. Well, it definitely fits you, Enid said with a smile at him. Kiba smiled at this before Ethereal was a flash nearby getting his and Enid's attention. And sent to your mom, Naruto said with a smirk as he held up his phone. Naruto was wearing an outfit which consisted mainly of classic Victorian fashion. It included a charcoal suit, leather riding boots, and an intricately knotted red cravat, covered by a full-length, red frock overcoat. Not bad. Naruto didn't see you going for a Victorian look, Enid said with a nod at Naruto. It's his great times 20 grandfather's outfit, Kiba said with an annoyed look at Naruto for his prank with his phone. Hey, be happy I left out the hat and glasses, now why don't you two go on inside, I'll wait for Wednesday, Naruto said with a smile at them. Kiba nodded at this before Enid dragged him on to the dance. Naruto chuckled at this before he turned and spotted Wednesday approaching him. She was wearing a black mesh dress and black heel shoes but still had the same cold look on her face. Naruto was breathless for a moment before he composed himself. You look great, glad to see you found the perfect look for you, he said with a smile. Wednesday said nothing to this but looked at Naruto's outfit. Interesting choice, didn't see you choosing a Victorian look, she stated. Yeah, it was as Kiba puts it, my great times 20 grandfathers, Naruto said before he held out his hand to Wednesday. Shall we go on in? He asked. Wednesday nodded at this and led the way inside, ignoring Naruto's hand, who pouted a little before he followed her inside. Unseen to them, Miss Thornhill was watching them with a smile. Inside the dance, Kiba and Enid were talking while drinking before they AMD. The other students noticed Wednesday and Naruto enter. Wow, Adams actually made the effort, Kiba said, surprised at this. Yes, she loved that dress when she spotted it in a shop window, Enid said with a smile. She actually picked that out, girl knows fashion sense after all, Kiba said, surprised and impressed by this. Naruto smiled at the reaction they were getting from the school and looked at Wednesday. Look at you making an entrance, Miss Adams, he said with a teasing tone. Wednesday looked at Naruto and glared lightly at him. You're lucky I'm even here, she said firmly. Now I'm sure we can have some fun. You know how to dance? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. In my family it's a requirement, Wednesday stated simply. Naruto nodded at this. You wait here while I make a music request from the DJ, he said as he walked over to the DJ. You got a music request, fellow vampire? The DJ asked with a smile, showing off his vampire fangs. Naruto nodded at this before he whispered in the DJ's ear. The DJ blinked at this and chuckled before he nodded. No problem, I like that group even if they are foreign, he said. You know them? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Rap is rap, kid, leave it to me, the DJ said as he got to work. Naruto nodded at this as he walked over to Wednesday, who was talking to Enid and Kiba. Please tell me you didn't request break on through like you did last year, Kiba said with a worried tone. Enid started giggling at this as she knew what Kiba was talking about. What is he talking about? Wednesday asked Naruto. I have no idea, Naruto said firmly as he looked at Kiba with a threatening look. That's why I have the video from it, Kiba said with a grin as he took out his phone. Naruto rolled his eyes at this as Wednesday looked at the phone which showed a 60s-themed dance, and on the stage was Naruto dressed in a 60s rocker getup on his back screaming after finishing singing "Break On Through." Good God, what was I on? Naruto asked as he shook his head at this. Ramen and BLD substitutes, Kiba said with a grin at Naruto. Thank you Kiba, Naruto said with an edge in his voice. Wednesday slightly smirked at this as while funny she actually found it more amusing that Naruto was annoyed. Alright dancers, we have a special music request from a fellow vampire for him and his date, the DJ said as he gave Naruto a thumbs up. Naruto returned it and looked at Wednesday. Do you want to dance? He asked her. Wednesday nodded at this as she followed Naruto to the dance floor as the song started. Unseen to them, Kiba had his phone out to record this. Play Yafakashi no Yuta by Creepy Nuts. Naruto and Wednesday took to the center stage, Naruto putting his arm around Wednesday's waist while she placed hers on his shoulders as they began to waltz across the dance floor keeping close to each other. I'm surprised she dancing with him willingly, Bianca said as her and Xavier watched this. The pair glided over the floor as they danced. Naruto took hold of Wednesday's hip smiling at her. She tried a backstab but he caught the knife between his fingers causing her to glare at him. He reared back and spun the girl across the dance floor before she came to a stop. Wednesday clapped her hands as she sashayed her way towards Naruto, locking hands again as they once again stepped across the dance floor. Naruto dipped her downward, turning their back to the audience as Wednesday swung down her dagger at Naruto, who parried her blow with his own pocket knife. The took broke apart, Naruto holding onto Wednesday's hand as holding her wrist tightly as she held another dagger before spinning back to him. Of course she goes to stab him while dancing, Kiba said as he shook his head as he kept recording with his phone. Is that some kind of FRPLY for vampires? Ajax nervously his date Yoko, who shook her head at this. With a quick move he picked Wednesday up, tossing her into the air, the young atom spinning around in the air as suddenly dozens of daggers shot from her dress down towards Naruto, who quickly moved aside as they came down at him. Naruto placed his arm around Wednesday's back with her arm around his neck as they started to waltz across the dance floor, once more quick sparks flying as they passed by. To a trained eye they would notice Wednesday striking with her knife and Naruto parrying with his dagger, both of them moving about every second. The gothic girl saw a blind spot she strikes at, with Naruto parrying her blows at every move. Weems shook her head at this but was silently grateful this wasn't going as bad as she expected considering who the two students were. Naruto heard the music reaching its CLMX, so he swung Wednesday aside before bringing her back and holding up a dagger, bringing it down to his neck. He caught her by the wrist. Wednesday struggled to pull her hand free when she felt Naruto dip her downward, her eyes locking into his as he leaned and his hips dangerously close to her own. Just as they were about to meet, a spray of red started to leak out from the sprinklers. Every looked around crying out in shock, some even saying it was BLD. All the students and faculty yelled in surprise at this before everyone started to scramble to get out of the dance hall. Uzumaki. Weems yelled out at Naruto. Oh come on, how could I do this? I was here. Naruto yelled as he looked up at the principal. Weems said nothing to this but left the dance hall to find out what caused this. You can let me go now. Wednesday said firmly to Naruto. I have to say you look appealing covered in BLD in the moonlight. Naruto remarked as he let Wednesday down since the moment was gone. It's paint, fools couldn't even spring for real BLD, Wednesday said with an annoyed tone after licking her fingers to test the so-called BLD. Oh, well still you look appealing, Naruto said with a smile as he patted Wednesday on the shoulder. Before Wednesday could respond she froze and looked up at the ceiling. Naruto instantly caught her, knowing this was most likely a vision, and just as quickly as it came Wednesday unstiffened and took off out of the dance hall. Wednesday, what's wrong? Naruto asked as he followed. Eugene is being attacked in the forest, Wednesday said as they both ran across the courtyard. Naruto's eyes widened at this before he glared and in a burst of speed scooped up Wednesday into his hands bridal style and ran into the forest. As quickly as he started, Naruto stopped in the middle of the forest in front of a cave that was on fire. What the hell? Naruto said with wide eyes, seeing this before a blade was under his throat. Put me down, Wednesday said with an edge in her voice as she held the blade. Naruto quickly put Wednesday down and she ran off to look around. Soon she stopped as she found Eugene on the ground with wounds on his body. Naruto and Wednesday ran to him to check on him. "DMN it," Naruto growled as his eyes glowed red from his anger. They then heard a scream behind them, and when they turned they saw Ms. Thornhill still covered in red paint with a shocked look on her face seeing Eugene. "Oh my god, is he alive?" she asked them pointing at Eugene. Naruto and Wednesday said nothing to this, but Naruto used his power over BLD to try and seal Eugene's wounds. Inside a house on a hilltop in the middle of nowhere, a woman with long red hair was eating dinner with a man with short blonde hair and blue eyes. This was Kushina Uzumaki and her husband Minato. "You think Naruto actually took someone to that dance this year?" Minato asked curiously. "I hope so. I may find his pranks funny, but I hope he took a break this time and just had fun with his friends," Kushina said with a frown. Suddenly Kushina's phone buzzed and she licked it up. "Ah, Tums kid with another video," Kushina said with a chuckle as she opened the message. "Hope it's not Naruto making a spectacle at the dance," Minato said with a chuckle as he remembered what his son did last year. Kushina looked at the video and saw Naruto and Wednesday dancing together at the dance and slowly smiled. "Looks like he did find a girl he likes," she said as she showed her husband her phone. Minato looked at the phone and chuckled. "I would say so, and they are dancing to our song too," he said as he smiled at his wife, who smiled back. "I can't wait to see Morticia's reaction when I see her at Parents' Weekend," Kushina said with a grin that showed off her fangs. With Wednesday. It had been a few days since the dance, and Wednesday was currently visiting Eugene, who was in a coma after being attacked by the monster. Naruto was also visiting with Wednesday, who had just placed some honey next to Eugene's bed. "This sucks. I could have sworn I had an eye on everyone for monster sightings," Naruto said. "Did you?" Wednesday asked curiously. "Yes, I was doing it while we were dancing, so either my eyesight is failing or our hide wasn't a student at the dance," Naruto said. "Or you were distracted," Wednesday said with a monotone as she looked at the unmoving Eugene. Naruto said nothing to this as she had him there. "But we should be grateful your abilities helped save him, so at least he is not dead," Wednesday said. Naruto nodded at this before he noticed two older women enter the room. "Oh, you two must be Naruto and Wednesday," one of the women said. "That's us," Naruto said simply. "You know us?" Wednesday asked curiously. "We're Sue and Janet, Eugene's parents," Sue said, pointing to herself and her partner. "Oh, I am so sorry, I tried my best, but he's not dead," Naruto said as he looked at Eugene's bed. "No need to apologize, the doctor said you did all you could and it's cause of you that he is even alive," Sue said as Janet approached Eugene's bed and sat in a chair next to her son. "Think he'll wake up?" Janet asked Naruto hopefully. "Hopefully, the only thing I know for certain is, that thing can't get him in here, so he's safe," Naruto said, which seemed to reassure the mothers. "I should go," Wednesday said with a monotone as she felt uncomfortable. "Of course, thank you both for being Eugene's friends, he talks about you two a lot," Sue said to the two teens as they moved to leave. "Us?" Wednesday said, slightly surprised by this. "Yes, especially you, Naruto. He thinks quite highly of you for not looking down on him and encouraging him to put himself out there more," Sue said with a smile of appreciation at the teen. "And your ability to never give up and just keep going, and possibly your attitude helped him as well, Wednesday," Janet said with a nod at her. "I helped someone?" Wednesday said as Naruto patted her on the back with a chuckle as they left the room, leaving Eugene with his mothers. "Look at you being a good friend, Wednesday. Adams is human," Naruto said with a chuckle at Wednesday. This made Wednesday shudder slightly. "Don't compliment me," she said flatly. "Sorry, that's like asking me to stop breathing. You don't want that, do you?" Naruto asked curiously. "You don't want to answer to that," Wednesday said with a monotone as they left the hospital. "Oh come on, you'd miss me," Naruto said teasingly. "No, I would not," Wednesday said with a firm tone, starting to get annoyed. "That's not what Enid told me last week," Naruto said with a grin before he caught Wednesday's arm as she tried to stab him with a knife. "And she's a gossipy liar," Wednesday said with a glare at Naruto. "You look adorable when you glare," Naruto said before laughing as Wednesday began to chase him and throwing knives at him, which he avoided. A few days later at Nevermore. Naruto was in the courtyard sitting on a table with Kiba, and while the rest of the student body were in the courtyard. It was parents' weekend and the parents that showed up were all arriving and greeting their kids. "Think your mom will make an entrance like she did last year?" Kiba asked with a grin at Naruto. "Probably she does have a flair for the dramatics," Naruto said with a grin of his own. "I just hope mine doesn't start a fight like last year," Kiba said flatly. "Then you should distract her with the news you have a girlfriend," Naruto said with a grin at his friend. "And I could tell yours about your crush on Wednesday," Kiba said as he grinned back. "You do and I'll muzzle you and have Wednesday give you the Bob Barker treatment," Naruto said with a glare at his friend. "You will do no such thing," Enid said, announcing her presence behind Naruto, surprising him. CRP, Naruto yelled as he leaned so far back he fell off the table. Kiba smiled at Enid, who smiled back at him while Naruto stood up. "Someone needs to put a bell on you, Rainbow Head," Naruto said flatly. "Do not hate me for I am appealing," Enid said as she dramatically waved her hair. "Don't need to tell me, I already know," Kiba said with a smile as he hugged Enid, making her smile. "Your mom is here," Naruto said with a flat tone. "Nice try, but I'm not falling for dash," Kiba was saying before he was cut off. "Kiba Inuzuka, do you have a girlfriend?" A woman's voice yelled out, making Kiba pale and separate from Enid. Enid watched as a wild-haired woman with the same red cheek marks as Kiba walked up to them. With a woman in her early 20s with the same markings, there's Witsum and Hana, Kiba's mother and older sister. "Ah, great, she brought my older sister Hana," Kiba muttered. "Oh goody, they can both grill you about your love life," Naruto said with a grin. "Walk away before I scratch your eyes out," Enid said as she made her claws grow for emphasis. "Oh ho! You got a girl that won't take lip from a true vampire, eh?" Some asked with a grin at Enid, who eeped and hid behind Kiba. "Now that's a girl with guts," Hana said with a grin. Naruto chuckled at this as he walked away, and soon he spotted Wednesday talking to who he could only assume were her family, judging from how they were greeting her. "Yeah, go bother them, let them see you with your crush," Kiba said, looking at Naruto before he ducked, avoiding a dagger thrown at his head which embedded itself in the stone wall behind him, courtesy of Wednesday, who was still being hugged by her parents. "Dang, that girl has arm, you picked a good one, Fangs," Sum said, playfully nudging Naruto. "Ugh, like mother like son," Naruto muttered as he walked away. As he walked, he saw a pair of shadows in the air and sighed before he looked up in the sky and saw his parents floating in the sky above the courtyard. "Really? You couldn't use the door?" he asked as his parents floated down into the courtyard. "Nope, you know me, I like to make an entrance," Kushina said with a smirk. "Just be glad I convinced her not to greet Weems first with a prank," Minato said as he patted his son on the head as he smiled, showing him his vampire fangs. "Aw man, I would love to see her smug face pranked," Naruto said with a pout. "See? I told you he would have loved that," Kushina said as she looked at her husband before she spotted Morticia, who was across the courtyard from her and had spotted her too. "Oh my god, is that?" Morticia gasped as she also spotted Kushina. "No way," Kushina said. "Kushi/Tish." The two friends shouted, running to each other as they reached under their dresses, pulling out a knife. The two sliced at each other, cutting into each other's cheeks before turning around, the clashing blades in a deadlock, smiling at each other. "You've improved." Kushina smiled at her friend. "So have you," Morticia said, impressed as they started swinging blades against each other, sparks flying in all directions. Kushina kicked the knife out of Morticia's hand with her jumping into the air, catching it in hand before Morticia leg swept her leg, but she placed her hand in the floor, balancing on a one-hand stand before flipping onto her feet. Both women looked at each other before they broke out laughing. "Oh god, it's good to see you, Tish, you haven't changed a bit," Kushina said with her hands on her shoulder. "Same to you, your skills haven't dulled," Morticia said with a smile at her old friend. Kushina held up her dagger and licked the BLD from the blade. "Ugh, you've been smoking too much, girl," Kushina said with a wince at the taste of the BLD. "Oh, my, must be from Gomez," Morticia said as she put away her blade. "Ah, Minato, my friend, the fangs still feel weird, my friend," Gomez said with a smile as he approached Minato and hugged him in greeting. Still a hugger I see Gomez, Minato said with a chuckle. Get used to it love, you may be getting more of them if our kids stay as close as they obviously are, Kushina said with a teasing grin at Naruto as she held up her phone which was playing footage of Naruto and Wednesday at the dance. Oh my, you actually went to the rave, and my little rain cloud? Morticia asked with a happy smile at this. Naruto and Wednesday froze at this before he turned and glared at Kiba. Hee, Kiba muttered as he waved at them. I'm going to neuter him, Wednesday said with a cold tone. I'll pin him down if you use a dull and rusty knife, Naruto said with his own cold tone. Already planning their first murder together, Gomez said with a happy smile at the two teens. I'm thinking autumn wedding, what do you think Tish? Kushina asked with a grin. Naruto watched the conversation with an eye twitch before he noticed Wednesday had a bottle of poison in her hand. You better share some of that, Naruto said as he looked at her. Sure, Wednesday said pulling out another bottle and passing it to Naruto. Both were about to chug the poison down when their mothers caught sight of this. Look at that Kushi, they want to die together, Morticia said with a smile. Ha! You're a sap like that sparkling wuss, Kushina said with a laugh at her son. Wednesday and Naruto froze at this before they dropped their bottles of poison. I hate my life, Naruto muttered feeling defeated. I hate your life too, Wednesday said. So how's your annoying sister been doing? Kushina asked turning to Morticia. Oh, you know her, always searching for the man of her dreams, being mother's favorite, Morticia said. Yeesh, I'd thought that old hag would be dead by now. She never got those poisoned chocolate, Kushina said. Oh, that was you? Oh dear, I'm afraid Fester got his hands on them, Morticia said. Same old Fester, Kushina said shaking her head. Oh don't worry, he simply loved them, Morticia said. Would you like some? I brought a whole case, Kushina asked opening said box of chocolates. Oh darling, you're too kind, Morticia said with a smile at her friend. I need a distraction, is that your little brother? Naruto asked Wednesday feeling desperate at this point. Yes, this is Pugsley. Want to torture him? Wednesday asked Naruto, causing Pugsley to back up a bit. Nah, he looks like he would break easily, it's more fun when the opponent is more worthy, Naruto said as he shook his head. Is that why you mess with Wednesday? Pugsley asked curiously. Never mind, let's torture him, Naruto said as his eyebrow twitched in annoyance. Pugsley paled at this and moved closer to Gomez. As fun as that sounds, we have a family meeting with Miss Weems, Gomez said as he patted Pugsley on the shoulder. Ugh, Wednesday groaned at this as she followed her family. Stay strong Adams, my kid loves a tough girl, Kushina said with a grin. Naruto groaned at this while Minato patted him on the head in sympathy. Later, Wednesday was walking back to school after her family therapy session with her family, where she brought up that she knew about her father being accused of murder back when he went to Nevermore but didn't get any answers from her parents. She also dropped off some evidence with Sheriff Gaplin. As she walked, she noticed Kushina in the night sky looking up at the moonlight. She soon turned and looked at Wednesday and smiled at her before she floated down to her. I see you're a child of the night too, Kushina said as she landed on the ground. I prefer not to use labels, Wednesday said with a monotone as she looked at Kushina. Kushina nodded at this as she could respect that. Naruto told me you have been investigating the attacks that have been going on lately, she said. Yes, we have come to learn that it is a hide but cannot find out who it is, Wednesday said. That's a hard thing to pull off, they are very good at hiding, Kushina said as she thought to herself. Obviously, I have some suspects, though it's only a matter of time before I find them, but I have a question for you, Wednesday said with a firm tone. Oh. And what's that? Kushina asked, wondering what question Wednesday could possibly have that involved this mystery. What is this curse you put on anyone that talks about your husband? Wednesday asked with a cold tone. Kushina's eyes widened at this as she didn't expect this question. Does it involve why the other vamps avoid Naruto? Does it involve why Jericho fears him and you? Wednesday asked, seeing that she was on a touchy subject. Enough. Kushina shouted, her eyes going red and her fangs becoming more pronounced, her shout echoing and making her hair fly behind her. Touchy subject? Wednesday asked with a monotone showing no fear as she looked at the upset vampire. You're way off base with this kid, this has nothing to do with what is going on now, Kushina said with a firm tone as she glared at Wednesday. I'll be the judge of that, Wednesday said with a firm tone as she glared at Kushina. Kushina glared back at Wednesday before she scoffed, good luck, the only one who can talk without consequences is me, Minato and Naruto, and you're not getting anything out of me, and that silver blade in your right sleeve isn't gonna help you, she said with a firm tone. Wednesday didn't react to this, but she slightly sweated at the fact that Kushina already knew that she had a weapon that could affect her. Trust me kid, for as long as I've been alive it's hard to sneak up on me with a weapon, Kushina said with a scoff as she started to float in the air before she flew away out of the courtyard. Wednesday watched her fly away silently, trying to think of what her next course of action should be. The next day. It was now morning and everyone was out in the courtyard where there was a breakfast buffet for all the students and parents. Try not to make a mess this time, Mom, please. Kiba said to his mom. No promises now, stop bogarting the bacon pup. Tsum said as she tried to take some of her son's bacon. Back off. Not my fault you were too slow in your old age, Kiba said with a snicker as he pulled away from his mom. I'll show you old, you little dash, Tsum growled out as she grabbed Kiba and put him in a sleeper hold and started to apply pressure. So will Enid be joining us? Hannah asked casually as if her mother wasn't attacking her little's brother who finally got loose from his mother's grip. No, Kiba said as he sat down at their table and looked across the courtyard at Enid, who was sitting with her mother and father and looked unhappy talking to her mother. Tsum raised an eyebrow at this and looked where Kiba was looking before she looked at Kiba. Okay pup, spill it, what's going on? She asked with a firm tone. Yeah, what's up with that? Hannah asked as she didn't like that. Apparently her mom wants her to go to a werewolf-only school where she can finally wolf out. Kiba said as he knew it was best to just tell them, otherwise it would get painful. Conversation therapy? Hannah asked with a raised eyebrow as she had been a late bloomer too, but Tsum had absolutely refused to send her to that kind of place. Tsum growled at this before she got up from the table, slamming her hands on the table as she got up, cracking the table. Mom, Kiba said, looking worried at the look in his mom's eyes. Kiba, sit down and shut up, Tsum growled out as she walked away from the table. Kiba slightly paled at this as his mother only called him by his name when she was really mad. Kiba and Hannah then watched as Tsum walked over to where Enid's family was. Hey Sinclair! Tsum yelled out as she approached her fellow werewolves, including Enid's mom, which was an older woman with graying dark hair. This was Esther Sinclair. Tsum, what can I do for you? Esther asked with a smile at her fellow werewolf. What's this CRP I hear about you wanting to send your kid to a conversion therapy camp? Isn't her dating my pup good enough for you? Tsum asked with a growl as she glared at Esther. This got stunned silence from Enid's mother and father and her brothers, who all looked at her with surprised looks on their faces. You're dating Tsum's son, a balding man with ginger hair and facial hair and a mustache asked. This was Maury Sinclair, Enid's father. Oh God! Enid muttered as she covered her face, embarrassed. Why would you hide this, Enid? You're dating the future head of one of the most powerful werewolf packs, Esther said with a breathless tone as if she couldn't believe she was saying this. Okay, 1, I didn't know that, and 2, because I knew this is how you'd react, thinking this is me taking another step trying to wolf out and be like you. Well, guess what, Mom, he likes me even if I don't wolf out, he likes me for me. Enid said. Plus you know that conversion therapy is a bunch of CRP. My Hannah didn't need it and she can kick my butt sometimes, Tsum said as she jerked her thumb over her shoulder back at Hannah and Kiba, who were watching this, while Kiba was covering his face, embarrassed. My point, Sinclair, is your kid is good enough as is, so be a actual parent. Oh, and by the way, she's plenty tough. She threatened Kushina's kid when I met her yesterday, Tsum said with a chuckle before she walked away from the Sinclair family. Esther slightly paled at this information and looked at Enid as she knew Naruto's lineage. What? He threatened to neuter my Kiba, Enid said, not seeing the problem. Murray chuckled at this and shook his head at this, feeling pride at the fact that his little girl apparently had no fear. With Naruto. Achoo! Naruto sneezed loudly as he approached his family's table with his plate of food. Watch where you're sneezing, brat, you will ruin my pancakes, Kushina said as she looked at her son. Someone must be talking about you, son, maybe it's Wednesday. Minato said with a smile as he drank some juice. Huh, must be planning my death again, Naruto said with a smile as he sat down at his table. Ah, the old Adams FRPLY, Kushina said with a grin at this. Naruto snorted at this and smiled, making a note to make a joke about this to Wednesday later, while wearing a helmet. But that would have to wait as he noticed Sheriff Gaplin entering the courtyard with some other police officers talking to Weems before walking over to the Adams table. Oh great, this guy. Naruto muttered as Kushina and Minato watched as Gaplin approached Gomez. What can I do for you, Sheriff? Gomez asked as he stood up to talk to him. You can turn around, you're under arrest for the murder of Garrett Gates, Gaplin said as he turned Gomez around and cuffed him. What's your evidence, Baldy? Or is this just your great detective skills at work? Kushina asked as she got up and approached. Gaplin turned to look at Kushina and glared at her. I don't answer to you, Uzumaki, plus your husband should be happy justice is finally being done, Gaplin said with a glare at Kushina. Hey, be careful who you're talking to, that's my mom you're talking to, Naruto said, not appreciating his tone. Naruto, let mama handle this little bat. Kushina said as she put Naruto behind her. Gaplin ignored Kushina and pushed Gomez out of the courtyard with his officers. Hey, I'm talking to you. Kushina said as she went to follow. And I'm ignoring you, Gaplin said dismissively. Kushina's eyes went red at this, but Minato grabbed her shoulder, stopping her. We can't make a scene, Kushina, we can help Gomez without causing a scene. Yeah, keep your wife in line, that's one of the things I like about you, Minato, you always could know how to work in the system. Gaplin said before he left with his fellow officer and Gomez making Naruto growl and Wednesday glare as the student body all started to gossip. Later with Wednesday. Wednesday was leaving the police station after talking to the sheriff and stopped after she spotted Naruto and his parents approaching the police station. Oh hey Wednesday, you give the sheriff the riot act? Naruto asked, stopping to talk to her. Please, I'm not so pathetic, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, Wednesday said with a flat tone. Kushina's eyebrow twitched at this as she knew this was obviously a dig at her. Son, we're gonna go inside, you talk to Wednesday, Minato said as he pushed his wife past Wednesday and into the police station. Naruto raised an eyebrow as he noticed that his mom and Wednesday's eyes were locked on each other as they passed each other. Did I miss something? He asked Wednesday. I asked your mom some questions and she got angry. Are all true vampires so easy to rattle? Wednesday asked as she looked at Naruto. My mom? Rattled? Impossible, she does the rattling. Naruto said as he chuckled as he wished he had seen. She got pretty mad when I asked about a curse she put on anyone that talks about something to do with your father, Wednesday said with a firm tone. Naruto froze at this before he looked at Wednesday. That's a subject you should stay away from, for your own good. Naruto said with a firm tone. You should know by now, telling me that won't deter me, Wednesday said firmly. Wednesday, it's none of your business, Naruto said with a glare at her. So the fact that Gaplin mentioned that your father knew Garrett Gates means nothing dash. I said drop it. Naruto yelled as he got in Wednesday's face, but she just took a swing at him with her knife. Naruto easily caught her wrist and held it, but suddenly Wednesday seized up and fell into Naruto's arms. DMN it, Naruto growled as he knew what was most likely happening. Wednesday's vision. Wednesday saw flashes of the past and soon the flashes stopped and she saw what looked like a young Minato walking down the streets of Jericho. Naruto's dad lived in Jericho, Wednesday mused as she watched the younger version of Naruto's father. Hey little bro, a voice yelled out as a car pulled up next to Minato and the window rolled down showing the driver, who was a slightly older teen with short brown hair. Wednesday's eyes slightly widened at this as she watched Minato approach the car. Garrett Gates, she asked. The vision then changed around her to what looked like a park. Wednesday looked around and soon saw what looked like a bunch of kids wearing sunglasses surrounding a tree, which could only mean they were all vamps. She approached the crowd of vamp kids and saw that the tree they were crowding around had something hanging in it from a rope, another kid with blonde hair. The kid was tied up and hanging from the tree and crying as the kids threw rocks at him. Spawn of crack stone, the kids all yelled as they threw more rocks at him as the kid cried as the rocks hit him. Wednesday looked at the blonde kid and saw that he had Naruto's eyes. What the f is this? Kushina's voice bellowed out as the vision changed and Wednesday saw flashes of blood gore and of figures being killed in random accidents. Vision ends. Wednesday gasped as she snapped out of her vision and looked up at Naruto, who was looking down at her. "I'm gonna guess your visions gave you some information," Naruto stated rather than asked. Wednesday said nothing to this but nodded as she stood up. "I can see why the vamps fear your mother now," she said. "Yeah, picking on her kid over past grudges is a good way to get killed," Naruto said with a sigh. "I thought that was you, what dash," Wednesday was saying before she was cut off. "Can you please just drop it and pretend you never saw it?" Naruto said with an annoyed tone. Wednesday said nothing to this but nodded at this. "I saw visions of vamps dying in random accidents." "How did your mom make those happen?" she asked. Naruto chuckled at this. "That was my mom being creative. She made it so if anyone mentions me or my dad being a crackstone they instantly lose all luck and die in a random accident. So they would fear whatever is coming to kill them." Creative and sadistic, very impressive, Wednesday said as she slightly smirked. "Well, anyway, I wanted to ask if you wanted help with finding evidence to get your dad out of jail," Naruto said as he stood up. "You think he didn't do it?" Wednesday asked curiously. "Please, if he did it he would admit it with a smile, not without a fight like he did," Naruto said as he shook his head. Wednesday nodded at this before she stood up. "Follow me, then we need to get back to Nevermore. I already asked my father what happened at lockup," she said as they walked away from the police station. "Any other questions you want to ask while we head back?" Naruto asked as he followed. "If your father was born in Jericho, how is he a vampire now?" "I thought that making people vampires was just in fiction," Wednesday said. Naruto paused at this before he blushed and coughed into his fist. "Well, true vampires can actually turn normies into vampires, but it's not that easy," he said with a sheepish chuckle. "Please don't tell me it's SE dash," Wednesday was saying before she was cut off. "No. God, no, it's actually way simpler, thank God. You see, if a true vampire feeds on normie they can turn into a vampire themselves, but only," Naruto was saying before he trailed off. "Only what?" Wednesday asked as she looked at Naruto with her piercing look. "They only turn if the human loves the vampire feeding on them," Naruto said as he slightly blushed as he rubbed the back of his head. Wednesday said nothing to this, before scoffing and walking away from Naruto. Naruto sighed at this before he followed after her, both of them making their way back to Nevermore. With Naruto. Later, back at Nevermore, Naruto and Wednesday were walking around the grounds of the school thinking over what had happened with Wednesday's dad being arrested for Garrett Crackstone's death. So he actually confessed to doing it? Naruto asked Wednesday as they approached the lake. "Yes, after talking to him he's hiding something. He has too many tells when he's lying," Wednesday said firmly. "You know what your dad's tells are?" Naruto asked as he raised an eyebrow at this. "I know what everyone's tells are," Wednesday said with a casual tone as they approached the lake. "Then what are mine?" Naruto asked curiously. "You haven't lied to me so far, or if you have it's been half-truths, so you're at least good at not being obvious," Wednesday said firmly. "Oh, you are good, Miss Adams," Naruto said as he chuckled at this a bit. Wednesday lightly chuckled at this before she spotted her brother Pugsley sitting at the docks of the lake alone, obviously upset about Gomez being arrested. "Wanna go cheer him up?" Naruto asked, seeing that Wednesday was now watching her brother. "I don't do cheering up," Wednesday said firmly. "Yeah, but you do care about your family even if they make you crazy." "Well, more crazy," Naruto said before chuckling a bit after a pause. Wednesday scoffed at this as she approached Pugsley to talk to him. Naruto stood back and let Wednesday talk to her brother bit. After a few moments he heard a twig snap behind him. You know you should actually take me seriously at this point if you're gonna try and sneak up on me Kaa-san, Naruto said with a casual tone as Kushina approached him from behind while carrying a duffel bag. Don't flatter yourself brat if I wanted to sneak up on you wouldn't know I was there until it was too late, Kushina said with a scoff. I see me being away hasn't affected your personality Kaa-san, Naruto said as he lightly smiled. Kushina chuckled at this before she placed the duffel bag down. Here, take this to them, she said as she gestured to Wednesday and Pugsley who were sitting at the docks. What is it? Naruto asked as he looked at the duffel bag. Fishing equipment. I was going to try and cheer Pugsley up a bit, but seeing as Wednesday is already here doing that I figured you could just deliver the equipment, Kushina said as she shrugged. That and you want me to deliver it and look good to her family, Naruto said with a knowing tone. Just do it brat, Kushina said as she turned around and walked away from her son. I missed you too, Naruto said kindly with a small smile as he grabbed the duffel bag and approached Wednesday and Pugsley. Hey Pugsley, you up for some fishing? Naruto asked, getting the siblings' attention as he put down the duffel bag. Oh, thanks, but I use special equipment to fish, Pugsley said as he looked at Naruto. Looks like he, or more specifically his mother, thought ahead, Wednesday said as she opened the duffel bag revealing that it was full of grenades. Okay, this kind of fishing I like, want to show me how it's done? Naruto said with a grin as he grabbed a grenade and held it out to Pugsley. Pugsley smiled a little at this as he took the offered grenade before he pulled the pin and threw it into the lake, blowing up a part of the lake and causing some fish to float to the top of the lake. Naruto smiled seeing this before he grabbed his own grenade and threw it into the lake, and after it went off only one fish came up. Only one? Wednesday asked with a scoff seeing this. Okay, let's see you throw one, Naruto said as he looked at Wednesday with a challenging smile. Wednesday said nothing to this as she took the offered grenade and pulled the pin and threw it, and after it went off around 5 fish floated to the top of the lake. Naruto blinked in surprise at this as Wednesday gave him a slightly smug look. Give me that grenade, he said as he took another grenade. Pugsley chuckled nervously seeing this as he joined the two teens in fishing. Later on it was nighttime. Naruto and Wednesday were walking back to the school, and after dropping Pugsley off in his room they were both making their way back to their dorms. But as they walked, Wednesday stopped Naruto as they approached the end of a hallway. What is it? Naruto whispered as he peeked around the corner with Wednesday down the hall. And down the hall stood Morticia, who was looking at the pose statue which was the entrance to the Nightshades. After a few moments of looking at the statue, Morticia snapped her fingers twice, causing the secret door to open, which she entered. So she was a member along with your dad. Of course she knows the way in, Naruto whispered to Wednesday. I'm going after her, Wednesday said with a cold tone. What, you think she did it? Naruto asked curiously as he raised an eyebrow at this, as while he had just met her he didn't see Morticia as one to kill someone. Wednesday ignored Naruto as she quickly went to follow her mother into the Nightshades. Naruto sighed at this as he followed after her, but stopped at the door and decided to wait for them to come out, seeing as he figured Wednesday could handle this. After a few moments the door opened and Wednesday and Morticia came out of the Nightshade's secret door. So you get a confession? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow at Wednesday and her mom. He's helping you? Interesting couple activity, Morticia said with a smile at her daughter. Not a couple, Wednesday said with a firm tone as she led the way down the hall and out to the school grounds. Not from lack of trying, Naruto grumbled under his breath while he and Morticia followed Wednesday. Morticia lightly chuckled hearing this while Wednesday looked at Naruto with a really annoyed look on her face. Just shut up and follow me, we have a grave to dig up, Wednesday said as they approached the Adams limousine. Okay, not that I'm not above that, but does someone want to explain what is going on? Naruto said as he looked at the mother and daughter as they got into the limousine. Later. After they made it back to Jericho, Naruto was now following Wednesday and Morticia while carrying the shovels. So who are we digging up? Naruto asked Wednesday as the teen girl stopped in front of a gravestone. Your uncle, Wednesday said as she pointed at the gravestone which had the name Garrett Gates on it. Naruto's eyes widened at this as he didn't expect this, but thinking about it he should have seen this coming considering he was the one who was killed. If you're gonna complain about this I'm not interested in hearing, Wednesday was saying before Naruto tossed her a shovel which she caught as he approached and shoved the end of his own shovel into the grave. Like I give a SHT if it's this asshole's grave, if anything that's a bonus, Naruto said with a dark grin as he started to dig. Wednesday said nothing to this before she slightly smirked as she started to help Naruto dig up the grave. Morticia watched this for a little bit before she smiled a bit. Such a appealing couple's activity, it reminds me of when you got your first grave digging kit, she said as she looked at Wednesday as they dug deeper. This isn't the first grave you have defaced? Naruto asked raising an eyebrow as he looked at Wednesday. You're surprised? Wednesday asked as she kept digging. Well, I figured you may have filled a few graves to file them. I didn't think of. Don't worry, it's not a deal breaker, Miss Adams, Naruto said with a smirk as he continued to dig. Wednesday rolled her eyes at this as she continued to dig before she finally hit the coffin and started to open it. I must say you have a talent for this, Naruto. Let's just hope your father isn't too upset when he finds out, Morticia said as Naruto stood up to let Wednesday work. Like I care, Naruto said with a scoff as while he knew he was part of the Crackstone family he didn't care about any of its history. As he said this suddenly some lights were being shined on them from surprising them all. Freeze! A policewoman yelled as she approached along with some other officers. Wednesday stood up at this and calmly put up her hands along with Naruto who dropped his shovel. Can we wrap this up? I have another graveyard to get to. I am one skull short of a Three Stooges reunion, Naruto said with a bored tone. This caused Wednesday's mouth to twitch and Morcha to lightly chuckle as the police approached. Haha, very funny, Uzumaki, one of the officers said with a scoff at this. Who's kidding? Naruto said with a dark smirk at the officer who froze at this. One of the other officers noticed Naruto and chuckled, looking to meet family, he asked as he gestured to the gravestone. Keep it up, I'm curious what unlucky end will come for you if you say something stupid, Naruto said with a cold tone at the police officer. Don't threaten me with that so-called curse, you, the officer was saying as he approached before his leg fell through a shallow part of a grave and an audible snap was heard. Must have been a small offense and this is the warning, Naruto said with a smirk seeing this as the officers arrested them. Later at the police station. A little later Naruto was sitting in a cell with Gomez while Wednesday was sharing a cell with Morticia and currently both parents were kissing each other through the bars where their cells met. I'm starting to see why you prefer to show less emotion, I mean wow, Naruto said to Wednesday as he tried to ignore this along with her but it was pretty much impossible. Wednesday ignored this as she continued to look straight ahead. So what did you take from the grave? Naruto asked curiously, deciding to try and cause some kind of distraction. Wednesday turned her head to look at Naruto while her parents stopped kissing to look at her. What? You think I can't notice when you're being sneaky? Why do you think I was distracting the cops when they showed up? Naruto asked with a chuckle at this. Wednesday rolled her eyes at this as she took something out of her pocket which was something wrapped in a napkin, and when she unwrapped it was a severed and rotting finger, but what stood out was that the veins on it were blue and protruding. I'm not an expert but that's not normal for a corpse, is it? Naruto asked as he looked at the finger. That's because you're lazy with identifying types of death, brat, Kushina said as she and Minato walked into the room led by an officer who quickly left the room. Digging up my brother's grave, you better have a good explanation, Minato said with a firm tone of voice as he looked at his son. Technically you were adopted, Naruto said with a shrug showing he wasn't intimidated at all. Minato growled as he slammed his hands against the cell doors, hearing this, obviously not happy with this. This caused Kushina to frown as while she had no love at all for Garrett Gates she knew that her husband's relationship with her brother was complicated. Oh relax, we were digging him up for evidence, at least that's what Wednesday says, Naruto said as he waved his hand dismissively. You dug my brother up without getting a full explanation? Minato asked with a firm tone of voice. Oh, you must really like her, Kushina said with a chuckle at this. And more, I just don't give a SHT about that part of my so-called family, Naruto said with a scoff. Minato said nothing to this as he knew his son had valid reasons for feeling this way after how he was treated for being of Joseph Crackstone's BLD. As facilitating as this is, we need to see the mayor. I have the evidence to prove my father didn't kill your brother thanks to this finger and a vision I had, Wednesday said to Minato. Wait, I thought it was Morticia who killed him, Kushina said as she raised an eyebrow. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this as he looked at Wednesday and Morticia. It's a long story, Morticia said with a sigh at this. You stabbed a already dying man, Wednesday said as she held up the finger for the adults to see. Nightshade poisoning, Morticia said, her eyes widening at this. That effer must have been holding a vial of the stuff to poison everyone at the Raven, and instead of doing what his dad told him he went after Gomez and Morcha instead, Kushina said with a scowl as she remembered what had happened. Minato frowned at this as he remembered what had happened after his brother had died and how his father had pretty much became withdrawn and started to drink himself to death after his brother's death and him leaving. Great to know Dad's adopted family is up. Can we get out of here now? Naruto said with a bored tone. Naruto, Kushina said with a firm tone as while she didn't like Minato family at all, they were still all he had growing up. Naruto winced a bit in fear at this and backed up a bit as his mother never called him by his name unless she was serious. Wednesday lightly smirked at this as the police officer came in and let her and Morticia out along with Naruto so they could go see the mayor. Mayor's office. Naruto handed his parents Wednesday and Morcha stood in front of Mayor Walker's desk where Wednesday had placed the severed finger on his desk in front of him. What is this? Walker asked with a firm tone. It's proof that Garrett Gates died of nightshade poisoning, which you should know seeing as if I recall the Gates had the mayor before you in his pocket, Kushina said with a cold tone. You have no proof of dash, Walker was saying before Kushina slammed her fist on his desk making the wood crack. Let's cut the SHT, but, Morticia told the police Gates was stalking him back in the day. Hell, I was a witness to some of it, but I was credible, and why was that? Kushina asked as she glared at the mayor. Let me guess, because you were just a biased outcast looking to defame a founding family of this great town. Naruto asked with a cold tone of his own. Indeed, Wednesday said with a cold tone of her own. What do you want? Walker asked after a few moments of thought, knowing that if this got out then it would destroy the town's reputation. What I would want is this town turned into a bloody smear on a map, but seeing as I'm in a nicer mood, I think Morticia will settle for Gomez being released right away and a full apology from you and the police. What do you think, Tish? Kushina said with a fanged grin as she looked at her old friend. That sounds wonderful to me, Morticia said as she gave a cold look to the mayor. Done, Walker said as he nodded at this as he went to grab his phone. As this happened, everyone went to leave the mayor's office, but Naruto paused as he looked at the mayor for a moment. You're pathetic, he said with a scoff as he looked at the man. Excuse me, Walker said as he looked at Naruto. You heard me, you knew all about this the whole time, but we're going to let Gomez fry for this just because it would make the town look bad. You pretend to care about the people of this town, but if it's a choice between a normal and an outcast, you will protect a normie even if they are the ones who started it. My mom is right, this town should be turned into a bloody mark on a map, Naruto said as he left the office. Walker said nothing to this for a few moments before he took out a bottle of liquor and a glass. The next day after Gomez was freed, it was now the last day of Parents' Weekend and everyone was saying goodbye to their parents. Naruto was outside the school talking to his parents while nearby Wednesday was talking to her family as they got ready to leave in their limousine. So besides the whole past being brought up and me having to threaten the mayor, not a bad weekend, Kushina said with a fanged grin at her son. Please, you loved it, Minato said with a knowing grin at his wife. True, now you two make up? Kushina asked as she looked at her husband and son as she knew that things had been tense with them over what had happened. While I may not care about his family here, I can respect that they are all he had before he met you, Naruto said as he nodded at this. It's okay, son, I just wish you had gotten to know what good there was in them before, Minato was saying before he trailed off and sighed. Naruto said nothing to this as he knew it was probably best to just say nothing to this. Good, now be good but not too good, son, Kushina said as she pulled her son into a hug. And you be bad but not too bad, mom, Naruto said with a smirk. He brat, Kushina said, chuckling at this as she touched his hair at this before he hugged his dad and they both started to float in the air. Oh yeah, just so you know son, Wednesday's birthday is November 13th, Minato said with a grin at his son. Ah right. Don't screw things up, I like her, she doesn't fear me, that's rare, Kushina said with a grin at this. Will you get out of here? Naruto yelled at his parents, a blush on his face. Kushina laughed loudly at this as she flew into the sky, leaving Nevermore, her husband, close behind her. Naruto shook his head at this as he walked back towards the school but paused as he saw Wednesday quickly walking past him after leaving Weem's office while carrying what looked like a yearbook. Hey, what's got you excited? Naruto asked as he quickly caught up with Wednesday. My mother gave me some new evidence, Wednesday said as she opened the yearbook and handed it to Naruto, who took it and looked at it. Huh, your mom knew Judy Garland? Naruto asked as he raised an eyebrow as he looked at the picture in the yearbook. That's Principal Weems, you idiot, she's a shapeshifter, Wednesday said with a flat tone of voice. Oh. She posed as Rowan after he was killed, Naruto said as he finally got it. Exactly, and his family was okay with it as long as it keeps the peace between Nevermore and Jericho, Wednesday said with an annoyed tone of voice. Naruto frowned at this, but before he could say anything a commotion was heard as students ran past them towards the gates of the school. What's going on? Naruto asked Kiba, who he spotted. Someone started a fire. Kiba yelled as he continued to follow the other students. Naruto and Wednesday quickly followed after the students, and when they got outside they saw what looked like a message in fire on the lawn outside. The message said, "Fire will rain." Naruto scowled at this while Wednesday kept the cold look on her face as she looked up at Principal Weem's office window where said principal was looking down at them with a look of surprise at what was happening. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for more crossovers. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and authors KFB Anime 87 and Spike Tank Master 300 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video, till then, goodbye.